Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you coming back as always. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. We want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. Team Alpha Charlie is his group name. TACMD.com, that's TACMD.com is his email address. Feel free to reach out to Adam on whether it's phone number, email, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're on social media, or if you just have a phone and you want to give him a call, go ahead and reach out to Adam. I looked at interest rates recently just because I was actually looking at cars, of course, because that's what That's what I do too. Yeah, I mean, I'd say like 80% of our text messages back and forth is you and me either sending cars for sale in the area and or accessories for said cars or the cars we currently have. Yeah. But what was I going to say? So I was looking up interest rates because I was like, well, if we end up getting a car, and we can get into that part later, what are the interest rates right now? Dude, it's like, I think mortgage rates are like 6.5%, which I don't know when they got up there because it was like 5.5, like 6-7 months ago. Mm-hmm. But car interest rates, unless you're getting some special financing from a dealership, I think you're looking at like 6.5, 7s.
Keep those old cars running,
right? Which, I mean, speaking of which, the Yukon is currently sitting with the shop that did the transmission. Now, I don't think it's the transmission that's the problem. But and I'll explain the scenario for any mechanical people in the audience. The car actually runs great. If you're under 65 miles an hour, you probably wouldn't think there was any issue. Like, it doesn't come up, right? But if I'm on the highway going about 70, 75, and car's warm, it's like fully warmed up. If I let off the accelerator to coast, I hear it almost sounds like it's going to be a flat tire.
Okay.
But it definitely sounds rotational.
Does it change frequency or tempo with speed?
Yes.
Okay.
But it also it goes away completely once you get to like 60. Mm-hmm. Once you slow down from 75 to like 60, 55-ish, it's gone. The only time it'll come back when you get down in that lower range is maybe like in first gear just starting to roll. You'll hear brum, brum, brum. But I also don't know if that's just the exhaust note, right? So I don't know if it was really happening at the low speeds. But it's consistent. It's been consistent probably since I got it back in December from the transmission job. Now, I don't know if it existed before the transmission job because I was more focused on the problem that they fixed, which was the torque converter slip. But it shifts beautifully. Like there's no shifting issues. There's no torque converter slippage anymore. Like that, all the old problems were gone. So I took the mechanic for the ride. And he heard it. He's like, yep. And he's like, we got to get it on a lift. And he's like, we got to make sure everything's tight underneath. Mm. So his initial thoughts were imbalanced drive shaft, maybe. Loose U-joint or just worn U-joint. Mm-hmm. What's the other one? I think he's like, it's possible that there could be out of balance tires, right? I mean, it's a big ass vehicle riding on 17-inch wheels, right? With some like a 70% sidewall.
70 aspect ratio.
Yes. So like it's got a huge ass sidewall.
Yeah.
The tires probably aren't new. They're just look new because the tread is so good on them.
Yeah.
But age-wise, I would say they got to be close to like 5-6 years old at this point. In order to try and fix the issue, I did brakes and rotors at all four wheels, wheel hubs on the front.
Hub bearings?
Hub bearings, yeah. Like, did both front wheels, hub bearings. And driver's side front axle, because my boot was, the CV boot was busted open, like open.
Yeah.
No more grease was left in it. I actually thought that was going to be the fix, but it was not. So now, and the guy that I had to do the work was like, look, I don't have a lift to see. Oh, and we did the front and rear differential fluid. And he looked at the fluid and he's like, there's no metal out of the ordinary here. So he doesn't think, it doesn't even sound like a diff. So at that point, like, okay, if it's not the diff, it's not the hubs, it's not the axles. It definitely sounds rotational though, because like as you're going down, it's like it's almost, it really does almost sound like it's a flat tire, but the tire's not flat. So maybe it's an imbalanced tire. You know, it could just be that, or maybe the rim is fucked up. Could be that too, right? So hopefully, if they can't find anything loose underneath, hopefully, I'm kind of hoping like someone's got like a set of wheels, 6 lug wheels. They'll just slap them on, drive it, and see if it goes away. And if it does, okay, great. Now I know it's wheels and tires. Yeah. And I was gonna swap those out anyway, which is also what we texted about. I think I sent you the funny thing is, I sent you a pair, and I didn't realize it was 22 inch wheels, but they were infinity wheels, and I thought they looked really good.
Yeah. And
center caps you can just pop out and in, right? I don't want 22s though, because I don't want to have the 45-inch aspect ratio for the sidewall. I think it'd ruin the ride of the car. Yeah. But I like that wheel style. First thing you text back, those are probably stolen.
Yep.
And then I'm like, so then as I'm looking
when you showed me where they were, I was like, definitely stolen.
Well, the funny part is, so like I was looking at some other ones, and so now it's like, okay, Central Baltimore, probably stolen. Yeah, I was like, damn it. all the ones I like are now stolen. Of course, the ones that I like are also the best deals, right? Of course. They're the ones that aren't $1,200 for.
Because the stolen ones are always cheap.
Yes. But if they fell off the back of a truck, I mean, do I have a moral dilemma here?
Yeah, the ones you sent me. There's an infinity on bricks somewhere.
Yeah, and they're not getting those rims back, so they should go on our car. Why shouldn't it be my car?
Have you looked at the dealer takeoffs?
Yeah. Oh, so it depends on the shop. Like some people keep their rims and tires, and they try and sell them for like $2,500.
Yeah,
like stupid. No, I'm not paying that shit.
Nobody is.
No. And then you get like some of the shops that are like, hey, these people left them here. They didn't want them. I'm selling them for like $300, but they're gone in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So
like I don't jump on them quick enough. And like I'm only looking for 20 inches. Like I'm not looking for 18s because I got 17s. 18s aren't even worth my time. 22s, again, I'd have to go with such a low aspect ratio. It's kind of, the sidewall's not going to damper the ride enough. The reason why I'm switching now is because with those 70 aspect ratio sidewalls, it is very cushiony, right? And that's not a horrible thing. It's just a little too rolly.
Yeah. Like
I would like it to be a little bit more stable on the highway. Because that's what we drive a lot on the highways around here because we have major highways.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it. Plus, it's just going to look better. So I don't know. We'll see what they say. It's been with them for half of today, so we'll see if they call me tomorrow and say, "Hey, this is what your problem is." I'm at this point, it's like I don't care how long it has to stay there. I just want to know: 1, we know the problem is definitely this, and 2, yep, we can fix it, and it's probably not that expensive. Cool, because I think this might be the last item that would need to go to a mechanic because I've replaced a lot of parts in this thing since I got it. And then one last actual mechanical thing I'm going to do is it's called the Big 3 electrical upgrade, which is basically you're putting zero gauge wire, so you're adding 2 grounds that are 0 gauge, and then 1 positive, which is also 0 gauge, and it's supposed to help the flow of power go. And that way, when you were in the car, I showed you this thing where the lights would dim when the air conditioning kicked on, right? Some people say, and I had the grounds checked. The grounds are fine. I had some of them redone. But this would help the power flow a little bit better. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
Dude, the car wizard.
I need a car wizard. I'm hoping this is the car
You
wizard.
made the car wizards in Kansas.
Well, and the car wizard is retiring.
Is he?
He made the announcement. I want to say it was, I would say this weekend.
I love Car Wizard. I watch all his videos, and I've learned so much about working on cars just by watching his stuff.
Yeah.
But I love his lists. His
lists are contradictory sometimes, though.
Yeah, but I mean the buy or not buy.
Right. But you want to know? He put a Dodge Charger on the buy list.
Yes,
like the last list he just did. Like it was like the five reliable cars you can buy for under $10,000, and a Dodge Charger was on the list. Like, come on, Car Wizard, come on.
I mean, there was definitely some. There's always the expected, Highlander. He loves Toyotas. And it's funny. He's like, if you don't want to deal with these problems, buy a Toyota.
But he always said it's going to cost you more. But he goes, it might cost you less in the long run.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of been known. But it was funny. I was talking to my neighbor about this because he just bought a Dodge Journey because his Hyundai transmission went on him. And he was looking for a cheap beater. Mm-hmm. And he was just asking. He's like, because his daughter's like a year away from driving, and that's probably going to be in her car. He's like, I'm probably going to need another car. And I was like, you really can't go wrong with and I gave him a list of 3 to 4 cars. I said, any old GM with a 3800 engine.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, any 4-cylinder Camry, even the one that drinks oil, just keep oil in it.
Yeah.
And I think there was a couple other ones I kind of threw out there to him. And it's surprising how many people don't really know some of this stuff. But I guess if it's not your hobby or your profession, you probably don't keep up on it. There's just too many cars out there. I did say though, I would have a really hard time buying anything new or newer than 5 years or 7 years old that didn't have a warranty on it.
Yeah.
GM finally just got around to doing a recall on the 6.2 liter. That was just throwing, the crankshaft was fucked. And that was everyone knew that AFM, the active fuel management, displacement on demand, would shut off 2-cylinder or 4 cylinders.
Stupid.
Everybody knew that those engines could grenade. Mm-hmm. And people still buy them because it's a really big practical car for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, people still buy 3-valve Ford Triton engines.
Yep.
So,
but they put it in everything. It's hard to avoid those engines. Mm-hmm. But if you don't even know about it, then you don't know about it.
Yeah.
But GM to the point where they finally recalled some of the engines, and they didn't recall all of them. But I feel like they didn't do, and they've known about the problem for a really long time. They didn't do what Toyota did. So everyone knows, or at least people in the know, the new Tundras had that turbo V6, and they had catastrophic issues, right? Yeah. Toyota did a stop sale. They recalled all the trucks, and they replaced every single engine with what they're saying is the fix. I feel like that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
If anything, because it's going to stop you from having to recall a million more of them if you just keep pumping them out and say nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. So, and I feel like GM put that 6.2 liter in everything from 2008 and forward. It's been out there for 13, 14 years. No, 18 years? 16 years. 16 years. 16 years they've been putting out that engine with that stupid AFM DOD in it.
Yeah.
To the point where if you go on any forum, the first thing anyone tells you to do is do an AFM DOD delete.
Yeah.
Through an actual tune. There's actually a product they sell where you plug this thing into the OBD2
and it does
port,
it for you.
and it does it for you. But you have to keep it plugged in, right?
Yeah.
So, that's how well known that issue is. So, I guess at this point, there was someone that was like, "Why do you keep putting money into that 21-year-old car?" One, I like it.
Yeah.
But two, depending on how much this fix costs, I think I'll have about 15 into it.
But still, so how long did you buy it? 2 years ago?
I think it was 2023-ish, so
Okay.
I'm a little over 2 years. February 2023.
Yeah. So what'd you pay for it originally?
8.
Okay, so 7,000. Divide it by 24.
The 7,000?
Yeah.
Let's see. $291.
You're not buying it. You're not getting a car payment for anything at $291.
No, so, and that brings us to the other point where the wife and I were looking at like something like a Hyundai Palisade. Mm-hmm. I think they're very good looking cars.
They are until it's dead on the road, and it'll be good looking and dead on the side of the road.
I also have never had issues with Hyundais.
Yeah,
like don't get me wrong. As they get older in the 130, 140,000 mile range, sure, but I've never had an issue with them under that. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where we were looking to buy a new, we were like 3 years old. Well, the 3-year-old one was about $2,000 less than the brand new one. So that's out again.
Yeah.
Right? I'm back to buying, I'm looking at new because at least I'll get the warranty. Mm-hmm. $55,000 for one. Now, don't get me wrong, you could get one for like 46, 47.
Yeah.
Sure.
Does it have the stuff you want on it?
No. And I mean, I'm a little bit of a bells and whistles snob. Yeah. I like my trinkets in the thing. 6-year payment, I think, was like $780.
Yeah.
Or $800. It was somewhere in the $700 to $800 a month range. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, and the car we weren't thinking of replacing the Yukon. We were thinking of replacing her car, which is the Ford Edge, because it's really due for the water pump. And the whole water pump, it's water pump, timing belt tensioners, spark plugs, wires, hoses, belts, the whole 9 yards. Because when you're doing a water pump job on those,
take the whole front of the engine off.
You got to take the front of the engine off. So you're doing everything while you're in there.
Yeah.
I think it was like $2,300. So it's a really expensive service.
Yeah.
And it needs tires, so that's another $800. Mm-hmm. So I'm at $3,100 right there. Then it's got that Sync 2 system, so it doesn't have Apple CarPlay or anything like that. So this is what I did. We finally decided we're just going to keep it. It's only got 111,000 miles on it. Mm-hmm. We haven't really had any major issues with it. So we're like, okay, we're going to do the service and the tires. So that gets us to $3,100. So, of course, I go to YouTube. I'm like, how do you upgrade this Sync 2 system? And basically, you don't. However, you can replace the Sync 2 system with the Sync 3 system. But what they have to do is you give some guy in China your VIN number. They code the Sync 3 screen because apparently it goes to capacitive from resistive touch. So that's why you can't use the screen. So they program your VIN into the API unit, the back end of it. Mm-hmm. They give you the screen, and they give you, basically it's like you get the pack from Crutchfield. They send you video, and they show you how to do it. And then you have Sync 3, where your Sync 2 was, which allows you to plug in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And you also have a nicer screen because the resolution was better. Well, now they also make those little dongles you can plug in to make it wireless Android Auto or wireless CarPlay. So now you just brought this car into the current day.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, and that cost, I think it was like $600. And I'll do the install myself. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I'm up to $3,700, which sounds like a lot.
Yeah, sounds like a down payment.
It does sound like a down payment. However, I now don't have the $800 a month car payment to go along with it.
6 years.
Right.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. If you wanted, to me, if I'm buying a $55,000 car for the next one, I'm leasing it. Because I've been watching Bow Ties and Benz's, and he makes some good points.
To lease the car?
Yeah.
You need $4,000 down. Mm-hmm. It was $580 a month. Mm-hmm. It's still $580 a month.
Yeah.
Let's round that down, $500 a month. Well, first of all, you got to put down $4,000.
Yeah.
So all of these repairs and upgrades are still less than the down payment on the lease.
Yeah, no, I would do what you're doing. I'm saying if you were to buy, if I'm buying so like my next car is going to be a '05 Silverado 1500.
Right.
Or an old Camry or a Highlander. Like I like cars, but I don't like new cars that much to drop that kind of coin on them. So her, though, on the other hand, I don't feel like dealing with it. Meaning that if her car breaks down, if my car breaks down, it's my problem. If her car breaks down, it's my problem.
Right.
So if we're going to have a car payment, which I think in the next month or so we'll have 0 car payments, which will be nice for the first time in forever. So
yep.
for her, like I'll just lease something, and she doesn't have a long commute, and we'd keep 3 vehicles, because I'm not getting rid of the Sienna.
No.
I need to put rear brakes on it, but that's just me getting around to doing it. It's not like I gotta save. Like, I just gotta. First of all, it's been, for those of you that are not in the Mid-Atlantic region, it's been hot as Satan's taint the last couple weeks. So I'm not trying to do it in the heat.
No.
So I'm just delaying, but I got to do it.
You got to get to the fall. If you can get to the fall when it's cooler, it's easier.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even do it in the morning, But, I took a lot of work off for my various surgeries, so I'm not trying to. I have plenty of leave to use if I want to, but I just don't feel like it.
Right.
So, I want to get. I'll take a day off sometime and just spend the day. But I'm going to buy it. I'm just going to run up to Harbor Freight and buy a cheap battery-powered impact wrench just to zip the. Because that's the worst part to me, is taking the wheels off.
Yeah.
After that, it's easy. So if I have that, and I'll just keep it. I might even just keep it in the car.
I'm surprised. Just one of the best places to get used tools from.
Where's that?
Pawn shop.
Yeah, they're stolen too.
They're for sale.
Yeah,
they're for sale though. It's not on you to vet where they came from.
No, that was the pawn shop's job.
That's right.
So,
and you can get it for like $10.
Oh yeah,
for like a higher end impact wrench.
Yeah,
like the Milwaukee impact wrench.
Yeah,
$10.
Now, if it has the charger with it, it probably wasn't stolen.
Right.
So, if there's no charger, probably stolen. So, but yeah, I got to do mine. But that's what I was thinking for her next one. Like, she has a short commute. Just lease it.
Or, hear me out. What's a new enough, reliable? Because she drives a sedan, right? Mm-hmm. She wouldn't do another minivan, would she? Probably not.
Especially not if we're keeping the one where.
All right. So what's a new enough, reliable sedan that she'd be happy with? That's really, again, reliable. That you could get $12,000.
Camry.
Think more luxurious.
Avalon? That's too old. I'm not buying. Oh, like an ES?
So, the ES is one of the most reliable vehicles out there. You can get an LS with about 100,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
For 12 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to go to 120,000 miles,
which I am on that car,
you can get it down to about 9.
Yeah.
And that's what I was looking at, because I was looking at the third car route.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I should. But then my wife was like, we don't need a third car. We'll be fine.
It's nice having it there.
It is. When we had 3 cars, it was really nice. Yep. Especially when we had 2 older cars. You got to take one in for whatever work. You're not harassing the mechanic to do whatever job you need on it, because you got another car.
Yeah.
But that was the route we were considering about going, though. Was something nice that we would, like, if we're going out to dinner, that's the car we're taking, right? The date night, that's what we're taking. Or she wants to drive it to work, she's driving that to work. Mm-hmm. Or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. But between a Lexus ES, a GS, or an LS,
yeah,
if you can get over the old Toyota interface, it's a hard deal to beat.
Yeah.
Because they're generally gently driven.
Yeah, it's almost a grandpa with money car.
It essentially took over for like the Lincoln Town Car.
Yeah.
For old, because it was essentially that for people that just took care of their cars. Whereas like the Crown Vic and the Town Car, you could just not do shit to it and it'd still run forever.
Yeah.
But it had like the more of the modern stuff in it. And the funny part is, even if you don't like that Toyota interface for those, there's companies that make modules to change those. So like a lot of those cars, like you couldn't modify the entertainment or the infotainment system. Well, they've worked around that now. Like you got to take the panels off and all this other stuff. But they're not all Chinese companies. It's like people in California or whatever, because there's so many of those old Lexuses out there.
Because they run forever.
Right. And people want to keep them, but they want Apple CarPlay. They want Android Auto, whatever it is. And so someone was like, well, I could charge $600, $700, $800 for this. And I know that's not a little bit of money, but it's a hell of a, I mean, if it's the equivalent to one new car payment.
Yeah.
If you think about that, and you get a brand new refreshed car, you have heated and ventilated seats, memory seats.
Oh, those things are luxed out.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing it doesn't have is the modern infotainment system. Well, now it does.
Yeah.
And it still operates your climate control and all that other shit. It does everything.
See, I would just have to go buy that and not tell her.
Right.
Because, and this is not a slant against my wife, but it's one of those things where a lot of people are like, it has too many miles on it. You don't know what you're looking at.
Right.
You know, it's like when someone sees an old Cummins diesel with 250,000 miles, they're like, oh, that has too many. That's broken in. You know, it's now if you were to bring a Ford 6.4, like but or a GM 3.6, like but that on that particular car, that thing's just going to go and go and go.
The only major fault point in that thing is the brake booster, and it's not a catastrophic thing. It just when it goes, I think the repair bill's like $2,500.
Yeah,
it's not a cheap fix. But here, again, though, you're buying it so cheap to begin with. So let's say you buy it with 120,000 miles on it, and you get it for $9,000. Interior's immaculate, paints and everything is immaculate on this thing. Even if you got to put $2,500 in to fix the brake booster, okay, now you're into a perfectly good, luxurious, great riding car that's going to be reliable as shit and can go 500,000 miles.
Yep.
And you're only into it for 11.5.
And those cars have looked good for generations. You can take a Gen 1 and it looks good.
So the 430, I think it looks good, but the 460 to me still looks amazing.
You can find a 460L.
Yeah, the limit. Yeah,
the longer wheelbase version, like.
Yeah, and and they got the rear wheel drive versus the all wheel drive. The exterior design on that thing was really just a really good looking car. It's got the same timeless kind of exterior design as the 01 to 06 Mercedes S Class.
Yeah.
The S430, 500, S600, like that body style before they changed it, where like the front fender flares look like someone just attached it with a crayon.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck designed that remake?
Why are you trying to make it look muscular?
Right.
And
and they did
stop building cars for the automotive press. Stop doing it. Because that's why what we talked about before, like why the Mazda CX-5 always does. Oh, it's sporty and this and that. Yeah, but it's small, and most people aren't driving it to that level. You know, it's almost one of those things where the automotive press expects an F-16, and everyone else just wants a regular coach seat. So, oh, look at this! Like, it's great, and it does Mach whatever, and yeah, but it's a fighter jet, and you have to like wear a G suit to operate the damn thing when everyone else is just looking for a seat to sit in.
not to harp on Mazda, but I noticed it a lot. And I know people that love Mazdas. But for me, I rented a Mazda CX-9.
That's their like full size SUV.
It's their version of like the Explorer, the Highlander. Like that's where it's supposed to sit. The Pilot. It's supposed to be in that size range. The problem is it's the smallest of all of them, and you're buying it because it's got the third row. Well, the third row is almost unusable for how short it is.
Yeah,
even like for a kid, it's
my
tight.
13-year-old. Like the two little ones would have to go back there.
And it would be tight. Yeah. Like your smallest would be tight back there.
Yeah.
And so, I think, and this is where I think a lot of car companies get it wrong. As a 2-row SUV, it's magnificent as far as driving ability. My other issue with it is the infotainment system is a shit show. It's not a touchscreen.
You have to use some stupid multi-function wheel.
You got to use the wheel.
Yeah.
Or the buttons down by the wheel. In this day and age, if you're not rocking a touchscreen, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows how to use a touchscreen.
It's like when BMW came out with iDrive, and all the boomers that bought them had to go in for lessons, and the dealerships were charging like $500 to program it for them.
Well, and it didn't, like when you went into the car, it didn't automatically go to Android Auto or CarPlay. Like you had to go through menus to select it.
Yeah.
And when you tried to select it, it didn't always go there. And I was like, no, this is too much. Like I'm already annoyed. And then, so like there are people that love Mazdas because they drive the way they drive. Now some people say the interiors are like near luxury.
Well, Smitty has one.
He does,
and I've ridden it. I like it. It's comfortable, and
as a 2-row SUV, it's perfect. It's fine because he's got 2 of them.
Yeah.
If you want a 2-row SUV that's a little bit nimble, and they're going to be reliable as shit. I mean, in a good way. They're going to be reliable, right? I mean, he's had one of them for almost as long as I've known him. The blue one?
Or no, the white one.
Or the white one.
Yeah.
He's had that forever. It doesn't break down.
Or maybe it is the blue one because he replaced his car with the white one.
Okay.
I think.
But they don't break down on them.
Yeah.
And like I think the 5 makes a lot more sense than the 9. Because the 5 is size appropriate. But the 9 is trying to fight bigger boys with a smaller body.
Yeah.
It's trying to be the sportier version of them all.
But the thing,
and that's what people are buying.
When you get into the Highlander, I don't think anyone thinks sport, and that's where the problem is. Like they're trying to make everything sporty.
Yeah.
It's a crossover SUV.
Yeah.
It's not good at anything. It's not a good truck. It's not a good sports sedan. So just admit what it is. It's today's version of the minivan, of the minivan deniers. I'll never drive a minivan.
You're driving one.
I love it. Like I again, why spend money you don't have to impress people you don't know? Like that thing, like I see people that buy front wheel drive Honda Pilots, buy an Odyssey. For the money you're dropping on that front wheel drive Pilot.
Yeah. You get more space.
You get more space, everything more in an Odyssey. And the thing is, it's the drivetrain's identical. But they think that, I've got a big, tough SUV. No, you don't. You're not fooling anyone but other dopes that don't know better like you.
The one minivan that kind of like breaks my heart a little bit, because I would love to buy one. But I know it would break down in 5 minutes, is the Chrysler Pacifica. Yeah.
We had a Town and Country, and the only reason we don't have it anymore is because it got stuck in a flash flood. I'll tell you what, I think the Pacifica still has it. That stow and go is great.
Yeah.
The Sienna doesn't have it. The back row folds into the well.
Yep.
But the middle row, I have to take the seats out. And that stow and go seating is just awesome.
For me, the exterior styling on that thing, it's just the Pacifica. As far as the minivans go, to me, that's the best looking of all of them. And then I've driven a couple of them because we rented those when we go on trips. It drives like shit. Don't get me wrong. But I also drove like the plug-in hybrid version.
Yeah.
And it just had a lot of noises going on with it that I didn't like. So maybe if I just drove the straight 3.6, but I know the 3.6 and the transmission just are just bombs waiting to go off. But the interior was really nice looking.
We had one as a loaner when our Sienna got hit, and it wasn't bad. I found it smaller than the Sienna.
Yeah, I think so.
I liked it does look kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I still wish they made the Chevy Lumina, the original one, the dirt buster. I love those old GM cars from the 90s. They're just so like
a blind person designed them.
Yeah. With a huge dashboard.
Yes.
What else I think is pretty cool, and it would also probably break down in a second because I think it has a CVT, was the Nissan Quest.
Okay, that was the ugliest design
I thought
thing
they
I
were
ever thought.
they were cool, man. I liked them.
Do you remember the dashboard on that
Yeah, it was
thing?
like this round pedestal thing, like out of Star Trek.
Yeah, it looked like
or Star Wars.
They were taking a page out of Ford's Blue Oval years.
Yeah, the oval
the
cars.
oval cars, which wasn't a good look for them.
No, but I just think the Quest. There's one nearby in the Cape. I see it every now and then. I'm like, I like that thing. Or Toyota.
The last version looked good.
Or Toyota Previa.
Oh, with the mid engine.
Yeah, supercharged, all-wheel drive. Tell me where else you can find a supercharged all-wheel drive vehicle that can seat 7.
I was not a fan of the windshield extending into the front hood look of any of those.
And the Previa, like the engine, like to change the oil, you had to like remove the driver's seat, like that.
Yeah, they made it easy.
Yeah.
But speaking of trips ish, so fun story because like you mentioned the heat wave. So the family went out. We went out to Luray Caverns. Now we had planned that before we knew it was going to be a heat wave, but it just kind of worked out where it was nice because during the heat wave, we're sitting in a cavern at like 55 degrees.
Oh, yeah, it's always 55 degrees.
Yes, it was glorious.
Because I've been there in the winter, and you go in and it's warmer.
Yeah,
I mean it's not like t-shirt warm, but it's take your winter coat off warm.
Yeah, I mean, and so the funny, you walk in to. You walk into the entrance of the caverns, and once you get past like the really bad stench of BO that everyone brings in, once you get into the cavern, it's nice and cool.
Do people vacation from showering too?
Apparently, and look, I'm not going to say there were a lot of foreign looking people there, but they look like they were from a certain part of the country that doesn't take showering very seriously. Or not country, a certain part of the world
that doesn't value showers.
No,
yeah. So they're French.
We senor, or whatever. But it was nice. It was an interesting thing. And then, like randomly, as we're in there, I ran into an old coworker of mine from like 5 years ago. Like hadn't seen him since they left and did whatever. But then all of a sudden, I was like, "Is that you?" I mean, it's kind of easy to spot because she was in one of those electric motorized carts.
Oh,
she got like a disability to her, but I'm like, there's no way this person in a motorized car chair thing is the person I worked with out here in Luray. Like, and then I'm like, holy crap. That's you. Like she was like, oh my god, like it was the most random person to see something you haven't seen in a while. So that was random. And then while we're in the cave in Luray, so the morning, so we had gotten there, we stayed overnight, we woke up, felt a little warm. Well, the air conditioning stopped working in the Airbnb we were in, and it's going to 100 plus. Credit to the Airbnb owner. They got it fixed by 4 p.m. that day.
Wow.
But let me, and this is the question I'm going to ask you. Now, I don't know how much experience you have with Airbnbs.
Limited.
Okay. Would you expect the owner of the Airbnb to at least give you some kind of discount for the air conditioner not working for a large part of the day?
I think it would be nice.
Right.
Like, if you think about it, you're renting it per day. So there's like 20. So how long were you there for?
I believe it was 2 nights.
Okay, 2 nights. So say you have possession of it for, it's not 36 hours because you have a checkout time, I imagine.
Wait, maybe it was 3 nights. Sorry.
So let's just say 36 hours.
Okay.
You have it in your possession. So if it's out for 8 hours of that 36 hours, you are unable to use it essentially for what, a sixth of the time.
Yeah.
So maybe not knock a whole day off, but prorate that because you're not going to be hanging out. Not that you intended to anyway, but still, you have to be fully functional for the entire time that you have it.
Yeah, and like so, I think the total bill was like $1,100, which the cost of hotels and lodging these days is fucking ridiculous.
And then the taxes they throw onto it.
Yeah,
because you'll see like, oh, this hotel, it's $115 a night, which is cheap, and then you say, okay, I'll take you do 2 nights, expecting to spend $230, and it's like your total is $371. I'm like, where did the extra? But
it's $30-$40 a day in taxes and fees.
Yeah, taxes and fees because no one complains about that. The voters don't because
you're visiting.
Yeah,
you're not from there. You're not
right.
voting in that district.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. But so for 3 nights, it was roughly, I think it was like $1,100. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't super cheap, but you got a nice size space, and the house was very nice. I have no complaints about the house itself. We didn't get offered anything. I don't, and we were kind of talking about it. Like, do we care that they didn't offer anything? No, but I don't think I'm going to give them like a 5-star review on the Airbnb because it's like, okay, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm really open to the fact that I might be in the wrong here. Now, we haven't rated it yet because we just got back. But like, I feel like it would have been a nice gesture to just say, hey, we'll take $200 off. So not even a full night. Like, don't even take a full day off. Just, or $100.
Make it an even 1,000.
Right. Like, just for the time that we couldn't go back to the house because, 1, the guy was there fixing it, and 2, it was warmer. Like, it was still 82 in the house when we got back.
Yeah.
So like, when we left, it was like 80. Mm-hmm. The HVAC guy said it was like 95 in the house when he was there fixing it, and it was about 85 when we got back, and it continually went down through the night. Right? It's just like $100 $100 or $200 would have been like a nice thought.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yeah, we fixed it. We got it fixed pretty quick, but you didn't have full use. And for the entire time you were there, here's this. And maybe hope that we would go back, right? But they didn't. But we were just like, it was interesting. Like, my wife and I were talking. We're like, well, do you think they should? And we were like, yeah, but we weren't even there during the day anyway. So is it really that big of a deal? So I don't know. I'd be interested to see what other people think. If you want to comment wherever you're listening, go ahead and comment now. And then the other question I had, I'm going to pose the question to you. If you had to choose, all right, so you're driving on the highway, you're driving around town, you see brand X of a car. Mm-hmm. Which brand do you look at and automatically assume this person's going to drive like an asshole? Like either too slow in the fast lane, too fast, whatever. Just or they're gonna cut across 3 lanes, or they're not paying attention. Like,
okay,
what kind of car are they driving?
I have some because I spend a lot of time driving and observing the behavior of motorists. So there's also where's the car from, but you didn't ask that.
Ontario, Canada's the worst.
DC and Virginia
I'm sorry,
are pretty bad.
Quebec,
yeah.
Quebec drivers are the worst.
So I'm going to go with asshole BMW.
Okay.
Just bad and dangerous Nissan, specifically the Altima. There's a bunch of stuff. AI is killing it with that one, by the way. Good ass. And see, Teslas are creeping up, but I'm going to go with, if they're going slow, Prius.
All right. So you named my number one.
Okay.
Tesla drivers. The absolute fucking worst. And I don't know if it's because they're using that full self-driving bullshit, but when we were driving in the express lanes on 66 going west, and actually it was coming east when like the main one, but I mean, don't get me wrong, like there were enough of them where it like stuck in my brain that these people drive like shit.
Oh, a Prius with Virginia tags?
Well, I was saying the Tesla.
Oh, yeah. The Tesla with Virginia tags?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Slow person in the left lane, it's a Prius. Yeah. Guarantee. Especially like a second-gen Prius.
Yeah.
That motherfucker doesn't know what the right lane is.
I saw one, though.
Yeah.
I had to take a picture of it, send it to my buddy. So he hates the Toyota Prius. Like, it's an almost unhealthy hatred of it. But it was a Prius that had a Trump sticker on it. And I'm like, that's something you don't see every day.
It's a bold move.
Yeah.
He's not welcome to the Prius parties.
No.
I can tell you that.
Nor is he welcome to the Trump parties.
That's right. Right.
I think he's a spy.
So the most egregious Tesla driver, though, that really just, I was just blown away. So we're in the express lanes on 66. These are toll lanes you pay to get in, to express past everyone else. I love them. All the peasants can go in the free lanes.
Yeah.
I'm going in the express lanes. It's like the people that say if you can't afford to tip, don't go out to eat. Well, if I can't afford to use the express lanes, I ain't driving on the highway.
Yeah.
All right.
The higher the toll, the more I want to be in there.
That's right. So we're driving in the left lane. We're passing people in the left lane of the express lanes. We're coming up on a white Tesla Model Y. So the big boy, which isn't that big, but the biggest one.
Model X is the
smaller one.
You sure?
It's the 3 and the X, which are the 3 is the smaller sedan, the X is the smaller. No, you're right. Yeah, the X is the bigger one.
Yeah.
It was a Model X.
Yeah, the Y is the small SUV.
Yeah, sorry. And the person isn't moving over. No big deal. We've seen this before, right? I mean, so we're driving around, and the asshole and his wife are playing on the fucking screen in the middle. He's not even driving. It's that full self-driving bullshit that's going the speed limit in the left fucking lane. Like, they automated the asshole driver.
They just included it.
Right. Right. It's like, it reminds me of like the Men in Black thing, where like the driver is like now a blow-up doll.
Yeah.
To make it look like someone's driving the car. This, like, he and the wife are, they're both doing, like, it's almost like he's trying to explain to her what's on the screen. Or she's explaining to him what's on the screen, and neither one are driving the damn car, and this thing's just putzing along the left lane. No, if you're doing full self-driving, stay in the right lane.
Yeah.
You're the asshole. Mm-hmm. Now the asshole is automated.
Yeah.
You automated the worst drivers on earth. That's what we've automated now. Like, AI has come to just piss everybody off.
Yeah.
Think, full self-driving is going to be amazing. No, full self-driving is just going to be, it just automated the asshole drivers in the world.
Yeah.
Going the speed limit in the left lane to piss everyone off. The only difference is now I'm going to, when someone has road rage and wants to shoot that person, it's not going to be the actual driver, but they're going to shoot the person responsible for turning it on.
Hey, you're the captain of your ship, sir.
Right. But like, and it wasn't, I feel like it just wasn't one driver. Like, that was the most egregious example. But like, I don't know if it's just the full self-driving. I don't know if it's just the type of person that buys Teslas. Now, essentially, I mean, I could imagine, because it's probably the type of person that used to buy a Prius now buys a Tesla.
Yeah, well, and they're also not car people.
Right.
They're tech people. And, that's one of my biggest problems with EVs is taking cars just closer to being consumer products, like a cell phone that it wears out and you throw away. And they're not car people. They're impressed with the tech. That's why the two douchebags were dicking around with the screen when one of them should have been driving the car.
Stepping on the gas pedal.
Yeah. It has all this acceleration. Use some of it. Just for a short period, just go 80.
Right. It's
like everyone else.
The asshole who drives a Porsche doesn't floor it once in a while. Like, you have the fastest car made.
Right. No one out here's
floor it.
No one out here's beating you, dude.
Right.
Like, and if you're too old and you're afraid of driving that car the way it should be driven, then buy a Lexus LS and go slow in the right lane with that.
It's almost like you have to pass a Tesla test to be a douchebag and drive in the left lane slowly.
Yeah.
In order to then get one.
Right.
Because if you don't, they're not going to sell it to you. You can go get a Mach-E for that shit.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever other one, or a Lucid Air. If you're not going to drive slow in the left lane, you get a Lucid Air.
Yeah.
Right. That's a faster one. But like, dude, I think it was like the Teslas that like they I don't know, like one person was like trying to make a left turn, but it was one of those things like you had to be in the left lane to get into the left turn lane to then make your left. Mm-hmm. But they decided to like slow down to 5 miles per hour under the speed limit, like 400 yards from the stop light. Like, no, keep your speed up.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Yeah, brakes.
Right. Or they drive in the middle lane of the 3 lanes and then cut across the 2 to get to that left lane. Mm-hmm. And they almost cause like a 5-car pileup accident because of it. Because they're not paying attention. Well, Tesla's got this great... Elon made the full self-driving amazing. I'm going to use it. Okay, dickhead. And you're probably going to get smashed by a semi-truck because you thought this was amazing.
Yeah.
It's not ready. Don't get me wrong. It's probably ready for a lot of things.
If I had one, first of all, these people need to treat it more like so airplanes any airplane that you've flown on has autopilot. Well, the crew still they're still flying the airplane. It's just stuff like holding altitude, speed, heading is all being done by the airplane. But you still have to manage the system. You still have to be paying attention to it. And I think these jerk-offs think that, the car's got it. Like, if I would use it simply for, like, highway cruise. I'd treat it like cruise control. But you still have to, like, you can't read a book.
Right.
You know, you still have to be, unless you just take your hands off the wheel, feet off the pedals, and then just kind of let it do its thing. But you still have to be alert and looking around and...
Well, I still think you have to, like... So, like, if you want it to move over, you have to hit the blinker, and it will move over for you.
Yeah, I'm not
the person's still an asshole.
Yeah.
In the driver's seat.
Sure.
Because they're not making...
Well, they're an asshole because they bought the damn thing in the first place.
Well, that's true.
And, I mean, there might be some listeners here, and I apologize if you are offended by that.
Don't apologize to them.
No.
They know they're assholes.
Yeah, I think that's part of the allure.
Right.
You know, that, I have I'm an early adapter, where you really aren't anymore.
No.
And
they're 12 years old.
Yeah.
I think some of the oldest Model S's are 12, 13 years old.
I think it's funny how the EQS is just tanking. Bow ties and Benzes say, that's a car you lease. Don't buy that thing.
Right. Value drops, 50% the day you drive it up a lot.
And no one's really figured out the used market for those cars yet.
No. Well, that's right. Tesla did it the right way in that when you leased the car and you turned it back in, they were able to control the secondary market.
Yeah.
For all of the Teslas. So they set the residual value on those cars, and then they sold it for more than the residual value, and you couldn't get a used one off lease for less than that.
Yeah.
It's an oddly manipulated market. So the only ones you can get that are cheaper than what Tesla's selling them for are like super old ones now.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen with them is they're going to end up being like someone's going to get kind of like how like you have your Google phone, I guess, or whatever phone you have, and I have my Apple and I'm with Verizon. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an Apple fanboy, but everything I have is I have an iPad, I have the phone, I have the watch, it's all connected. Switching right now would just be a pain. And I think that's where Tesla's going, where you're going to get into the Tesla and just keep it, because then when you're done with it, and people can buy them though, right?
Oh yeah.
So when you buy it, it's going to be so much like, hey, bring your Tesla back and buy another one, and we're gonna make the buying the new one so attractive that you'd be foolish to then go get into something else.
Yeah, and the thing with Tesla right now, and this is their biggest advantage they have, is that they have been extremely reliable. Mm-hmm. Now, I know everyone's like, well, yeah, but they catch on fire. Yeah, a few of them have caught on fire.
Yeah.
Just like a Chevy Bolt, just like some other electric cars and all this other stuff. However, you've also got some Model S's and some Model 3s that have gone 150, 175, 200,000 miles, and the battery degradation hasn't been awful.
Yeah.
Or the cost to replace the battery hasn't been awful. And I think that's the biggest victory for them, because now people are like, okay, well, the technology has moved forward. So if I had one of the first gen or second gen Model Ys or Model S's, and I know it went for 8 to 10 years, I'm not afraid to buy a second one. Like, they're able to now build that brand loyalty part while other people catch on. And then the other part of it is, because of that Tesla supercharger network, a lot of people don't have the range anxiety. Now, I mean, you still got to wait 20 minutes or so for the car to charge. And I think that's where the tech needs to progress into, okay, I need to be able to plug in. I need to be able to go from like 5% to 80% in under 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that's coming.
Yeah.
Not fast enough, but it needs to come faster. Otherwise, the range anxiety for new people is still going to be there. But the other part of it, like, I saw one in the wild, a couple of these things. One, the Cybertruck looks fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You fucked that up. Rivian's truck looks like a truck. Mm-hmm. You should have made your shit look like a truck, because the F-150 Lightning looks like a truck, even though it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
My problem with the Model X, Y, 3, and E, S3, X, and Y.
Yeah.
The front nose dips down way too far, to the point where you can't see. Like, it doesn't look enough like a car in the front. Whereas, like, a Mach-E has, it's got a hood.
Yeah.
That you can see, right? And when I look at, like, the Model X, it's supposed to be a bigger SUV, but it looks like a bubble. Mm-hmm. Like, whoever's designing these things needs to now design cars that are, I mean, don't get me wrong, they look okay, but they don't have a certain appeal to them.
Yeah. Like,
people are still buying them for the technology, not because they look great.
Yeah, and they're also buying them because it's like an iPhone, like, you part of this brand image.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be cool if you took, so there's electric cars, essentially it's a skateboard with the batteries and the motors, everything is on the skateboard. Say you wanted an SUV and a pickup truck. You could buy the body, right, of each, and then have some sort of jack lift thing that could sit in your driveway. Mm-hmm. And then I really need, I don't need the truck. I need to take, we're going to a baseball tournament. I'm going to have the team with me. You need the SUV body. You just pull the skateboard under. It lowers it on top of it, connects it, and then you pull up. Because really, they could do it where there's no mechanical linkage between the steering wheel and the steering and the front wheels.
Most power steering is electronic now anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean,
there's still a steering shaft.
Yeah.
But there's nothing saying you can't make it complete drive-by-wire.
Right. The only thing you'd have to do is the machine would have to be able to plug the high voltage from the battery to the chassis.
Yeah.
Which I don't think would be
but you make like
that difficult.
Connection, like it's beefier, of course.
Right.
So it just goes and sits right like where the drive shaft tunnel used to be.
Yep.
There's no transmission because the motors drive the wheels directly. I think the other cool thing about it is the brakes last forever because they're regenerating. But
although people said, so like someone said, you do want to press them from time to time. Otherwise, they can seize up from non-use. Like, they just won't. Like, when you want to use them, they won't work because it's seized. Because you didn't use it. Mm-hmm. And, like, they're talking, like, months of non-use.
Yeah. But you think the car that can drive itself would just do that on its own.
Yeah, go through a test cycle.
Yeah.
Like when you first start it, before you put it in a gear, do like a 3 compression test.
Yeah.
And then let it go.
Yeah.
Right? Just to keep them working. It's not that smart.
And then the other thing with them, I've never driven one, but as I understand it, like, in your regular car, you drive it, and when you take your foot off the gas, it coasts. Mm-hmm. And these, when you take your foot off the gas, like, it slows down really quick. You have to like keep that power, because it never coasts. It's just always giving it power to turn.
It's accelerating or braking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you take your foot off the gas, it does. Like you get kind of like that kickback of braking.
I've never even ridden in one.
I have.
So.
Someone did like the old. They did the acceleration thing. Mm-hmm. So like, you want to feel it accelerate? I didn't know. I was like, sure.
Yeah.
and he did it though. Ooh, my motion sickness was like, oh, you about to throw up, son?
It's like getting launched off a carrier.
Yeah. Like I don't really get motion sick. Mm-hmm. But man, this it made my stomach roll a little bit. Like, I was not prepared for that.
Yeah,
and it was in a Rivian truck, and it still took off. And I was just like, nope, not for me. I mean, not that I would like, but if you just rode in it, it rode like a regular truck. It was very quiet though.
Yeah,
it was neat. It was neat. I mean, that's the one thing I liked about the Rivian though. Like you were in it, and it felt like just. You could have been inside a Chevy Colorado. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have known. Other than the acceleration factor. It looked really cool.
They have cool like little tunnels and cubbies and stuff to put stuff in. So
I did look at one. Like when we were looking at cars, like before we hit the Hyundai Palisade, I was looking at the Chevy Blazer EV. Mm-hmm. Which that's a whole nother topic. I didn't even get into like the whole Chevy situation. GM's in trouble because GM doesn't make their electric vehicles.
Who does?
SAIC in China. A long time ago, GM partnered with SAIC. So any American car company that wanted to sell cars in China had to partner with a Chinese government car manufacturer. So GM partnered with SAIC. I don't know if you remember, but like a few episodes ago, we talked about how like the Chinese companies, state-run companies, would steal intellectual IP from American companies, which is how Westinghouse got basically run out of the nuclear market because they partnered with a Chinese company to build nuclear power plants, and the Chinese company at the end of 5 years had stolen all of their stuff because part of the agreement the Chinese company had to have access to the IP. Mm-hmm. Well, they steal all the stuff, and then after the 5 years, they don't renew the agreement, and they could manufacture everything less than Westinghouse could from the United States, and they basically ran Westinghouse out of business. Mm-hmm. And it's not an isolated incident to them. It also happened in the solar industry. Well, so essentially what happened was SAIC has to give 49% of profits to GM. Well, their contract is up in 2027. And at that point, so essentially right now, the Chevy Blazer, the Chevy Equinox, they're essentially made by SAIC and imported from China here under the Chevy badge. SAIC exports that car under their brands. Same car. Even the Honda Prologue, which is it's a Chevy Blazer. So if you look at it, the infotainment screen is the same.
Yeah, I saw one in the wild.
Yep.
Like last week.
Not many people realize how many cars SAIC actually make, electric vehicles they make. Like China, they blew past everybody in EVs. Between SAIC, Chery, and BYD. Just blew past everybody. Now, don't get me wrong. They got started with all the IP stuff from American companies. And they just basically ran with it. So what they can essentially do is they can basically tell GM, hey, we're not paying you 49% anymore. We're not renewing this agreement. But we still get to sell the Chevy Blazer. So basically it turns and they won't be able to sell it in America. But essentially, it makes GM a USA-only company because Chevy won't be able to export the Blazer EV and price it competitively against whatever SAIC is going to name it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the same exact car. And the Blazer won't be able to undercut it on price anywhere else in the world. They'll export it to... SAIC will make it and export it to Europe, Russia, India, everywhere else. Everywhere else. And GM won't be able to do that with... They won't be able to undercut them. So, they were saying, like... The person who I saw do, like, the deep dive on it basically said in 2027, if SAIC doesn't renew that GM contract, GM's fucked. And
kind
so...
like Westinghouse was.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Westinghouse no longer exists other than, I think it's a brand only that someone bought for the brand. Mm-hmm. But they're not doing nuclear shit anymore.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with GM. Now, the other American companies, although Chrysler is not an American company anymore.
No,
it's owned by Stellantis it's a Dutch company. They're just trading on the American names. Ford is still technically an American company, but they partner with a Chinese company too. And so who knows if they're going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. So like when Trump put the tariffs on stuff from China, GM was one of the biggest opponents of it because of that. Because they were importing all of their EVs from China. They weren't. I think they make the Lyric here.
Yeah.
But the design, all of it, Chinese. It's all from SAIC. So, but I will say this though, that Blazer, that Chevy Blazer, and I didn't realize the Blazer was bigger than the Equinox. Mm-hmm. It's, as far as like an everyman EV goes, it's not bad.
So I drove a gas-powered one. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really impressed with it. I mean, I didn't find it to be that comfortable. It's just another boring crossover. Like,
it's still small.
Yeah.
It's still small. I mean, it's just... But if you need you and I are not made for the small cars.
No.
We've already established this.
Yeah.
But for someone that is, they're not bad.
So I like the old S10 Blazer.
That wasn't very big either, though.
No, but it was bigger than the problem is they want to make everything feel like a fighter jet. Like, oh, I'm going to sit inside the cockpit and have this swoopy dash wrap around me. And no, just give me some room.
Yeah.
Give me a bench across the front with a column shifter. God, I'm getting old.
You're not going to tell me the column shifter in that Yukon? Like, when I'm driving the Edge, I constantly reach for the column shifter.
Yeah.
Constantly. I love it up there. Mm-hmm. It gives you the storage space in the middle.
Yeah.
All of it. It gives you all of it back. Like, that's the one thing I don't know if I really need the length of the Yukon, but I love the width of it. Mm-hmm. It feels more spacious.
Yeah.
Like when I get in my wife's Edge, I feel a little bit more contained. Mm-hmm. Because it's got the high window belt. The center console sits a little bit high. Like you feel like you're sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Not like kind of like on top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying like I always like there's advantages to it because it is comfortable, but it's just like I do feel a little confined. That's all. Like I wish it was a little bit more vital. Mm-hmm. I think we were supposed to hit another topic, but shit.
Yeah, we talked about cars for an hour and 6 minutes.
We did. That's not surprising, though. So I'm on the search for 20-inch rims. 20-inch GM rims if you're in the Annapolis, Maryland area and you got some. And you don't mind me cheapskating you. Hit me up on the DMs, as the kids say. I want to thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck for sponsoring this episode, or the show in general. Go to tacmd.com. That's TACMD.com. Thank you for listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms or wherever you're listening, and we'll talk to you next week.